Back out of Texas, zooming up.
He's moved way up, Bobby. He's a versatile guy. He can run with the football, catch it, great return man. He's going to go in the middle of the first round, and there are several clubs looking to move up to get him.
See, he's that good that we might see somebody trade up to make a move, and we'll wait to see if that happens. You think there's a real good shot of that?
Good shot at that, and of course we talked about Andy Heck, up to 288 pounds from 265, a former tight end, looks real good right now. Solid mid-first rounder.
Well, the assessments will continue right up to draft time, and as those picks come down, and we'll be here at the Marriott Marquis. Charles, it begins at noon Eastern time tomorrow. We'll see you then.
And we will be glued to our sets from noon until 7 o'clock, our 10th year of live and exclusive coverage of the NFL Draft here on ESPN. Larry?
And in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns were at the Hemisphere in San Antonio to play the Spurs tonight. The Suns were beaten at home by Houston.
For the first round of today's draft, we're giving them everything except real money. Bino Cook and Ralph Wiley have the American Conference teams. Will McDonough and Paul Zimmerman have the NFC teams. Gentlemen, good luck. Paul, the Dallas Cowboys have already taken quarterback Troy Aikman as their first choice. That's the one I could have gotten right. But you've always wanted to be Tex Schramm. Of course, he's wanted to be you. You want to just go through the formality of making the first selection in the draft?
Well, it's a hard choice. But, I mean, I've thought it over. I don't think they had the guts not to take Aikman. And this is a very safe pick for him.
But who would you take, Paul?
Aikman.
Okay, here we go. Number 2, Green Bay.
Well, I got the next 2 picks, right? Green Bay and Detroit.
Yeah,
and
right.
The next 2 best players on the board, everybody says there are 3 outstanding players this year. So we'll take Mandarich, the offensive tackle, from Michigan State's going to Green Bay, and somebody named Sanders is going to Detroit. I would go for Deion Sanders because they say he's the best athlete in the draft, the defensive back from Florida State. But even as of late last night, the Lions were still picking Barry Sanders, although they've got 4 or 5 teams trying to make a trade up to get that pick, and the guy they want is Deion Sanders in that pick.
Okay, now let's see, Ralph Wiley, you are Kansas City.
Right, and if Willie's Lions take Deion Sanders, I'm taking Heisman Trophy homeboy Barry Sanders from Wichita because I let Gale Sayers get away 24 years ago. If Willie takes Barry Sanders, then I'm forced to take Z's chalk pick, Derrick Thomas, the linebacker from Alabama for Kansas City.
Okay, Mr. Zimmerman, you're Atlanta.
Well, I've given Barry Sanders to Detroit, Derrick Thomas to Kansas City, which leaves Deion Sanders. I have him projected to Atlanta. The only question is his baseball. He made one statement saying they're going to have to pay me to play football, and then everybody panicked, and they were talking about his stock really nosediving, and then now they're talking about the middle of the first round. The next thing you know, he comes out with statement number 2, I really love football, I was only kidding.
Well, of course, Steinbrenner likes football players better than he likes baseball players, so that may enhance his worth to the Yankees.
Yeah, he's got a team full of them.
Okay, you also have the Tampa Bay selection.
Yeah, Tampa Bay's a tough one, because last year, if you remember, Ray Perkins smokescreened. He said, he was telling everybody Sterling Sharp, and we all us idiots had it penciled in, and he took Gruber, the tackle. This year, they seem to be smokescreening and saying that Andre Rison is their guy. And a lot of people have projected him, or Tim Worley, the running back. I have Broderick Thomas, the linebacker from Nebraska, going there.
Okay, the 7th round choice, your hometown, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bino Cook.
Make it quick. Tim Worley from Georgia will be in the Pro Bowl within 2 years.
Okay, now we go to the 8th round, Ralph. You're the Chargers.
I'm the Chargers, and I got big quarterback problems, and I can't get Mark Rippon from the Redskins. I can't work this deal through Atlanta. I'm going to shock the world, and I'm going to shock John Simon, the critic from New York Magazine. But who cares if I shock him or not? I'm going to take Rodney Peete from the University of Southern California. I don't know what the Chargers are going to do. Zim says they're going to take Roseman. I would take Peete.
That's a good pick.
I think the odds are infinite that John Simon will not review your selection.
We'll now move on quarterback more than anything. That's a good pick.
Okay, we'll now move on to the 9th round and the Miami Dolphins and Mr. Cook.
Well, I'm going to be a wild one for the Dolphins. So I'm Eric Metcalf. I don't know if they need him, but that's who I'm going to pick for him.
Good breeding, just like
yes.
You and Jack Kent Cook are so well.
Harriet, yes.
That's the whole thing. Okay, now Phoenix, Paul Zimmerman.
If Miami doesn't take Eric Hill, the linebacker, they'll take him. If Miami does take him, then I think they'll take Sammy Smith, the halfback of Florida.
Okay, we're giving a lot of choices. Next is the Chicago Bears from the Raiders. Will?
Well, we're doing pretty well here so far, except for Ralph. Rodney Pete's off the wall. He might go 2nd round.
Ralph is off the wall, too, okay.
Top of the 2nd round to Detroit, I think. But right here with Chicago, there are 2 picks back-to-back. I think Darnell Wolford, who we just mentioned, a fine defensive back, will be one of them. People speculate the other one will be a defensive lineman. For some reason, I feel they're going to pick Sammy Smith, the running back for Florida State, in there. If not, either Bert Grossman or Trace Armstrong, 2 defensive linemen. But I'm going to go with Sammy Smith.
Okay, that's 11 and 12. Now we move to number 13, Denver, Ralph.
Denver, I'm tempted to take Tracy Rocker because I need to stop, but I'm going to retool my whole secondary. I know I can get Alvoid Mays from West Virginia, cornerback, late rounds. I know I can get Kevin Dent, free safety from Jackson State, middle rounds. Right now, I'm going to take Lewis Oliver, safety from Florida, and I'm going to line him up on the tight side. We're going to hurt you.
Okay, Bino, you are now the New York Jets.
Well, I think maybe Eric Hill of LSU.
He's gone, Bino.
Oh, okay, but I'm going to make a trade. I'm going to try to get him.
Right.
Or I'm going to take Brian Smith from Auburn, defensive lineman. He's very good.
Andre Rison's still there.
I don't care.
No, we're going to put...
I'm a general manager of about 16.
Yes. We're going to put free trade back into football.
Yeah.
We're going to allow players to be drafted by more than one team.
I think Bino's sabotaging some of his teams.
Okay, 15th round, Seattle from Indianapolis. Ralph?
This is nuts. This is nuts. This is a nuts pick for me. I don't know what to do here.
Oh, wait a second. Please, build it up.
Seattle has got one good running back, not Kurt Warner, John L. Williams. Kurt Warner's going toward the end of the road. They need a lot of stuff. They could take Madigan. That's a surprise from Southern California. But I would take Cleveland Gary, the running back from Miami.
Cleveland
But
Gary.
I'm nuts, so.
Okay, yes, okay. And you also have the next choice, 16th, New England.
New England, I'm going to take Andre Rison, since he hasn't been taken. I was going to take Hartley Dykes, but since Rison's still on the board, I'm going to take Rison.
That might even be a sane choice, destroying your image.
You don't want to put the team on probation, so you're not
Okay,
going to take
number 17, Phoenix, Mr. Zimmerman.
Well, Eric Hill would be a logical pick for them.
That's just
Eric
a free team.
Well, he's been twice in the same team.
He's going to get a bonus for this.
In my board, I had Eric Metcalf going there. But I think if the guys that we have picked are gone, they'll go for another defensive back. Maybe Robert Massey, maybe somebody like that.
Okay, you go to the Giants for number 18.
Pencil in Cleveland Gary, fullback from Miami.
No, he's picked.
You just took...
You got on me.
Yeah, but he's not picked on my board.
Not a real guy.
I can see George Young.
Cleveland Gary,
if
if he's still there. If he's not, it'll come down between two guards, Joe Wolf of Boston College, Steve Wisniewski of Penn State, and I think they'd lean towards Wisniewski a little more.
Okay, 19th now. You're living in New Orleans. You're relaxed. Who do you like to come down there?
Well, you know, first of all, I think there's no way that Andre Rison's not going to get picked in the top 10, and we didn't have him going until 15th. And
that's why we were here.
I think we get New England's pick it might be like Hartley Dykes, who's a heck of a receiver. I think he'll be gone. I'm trying to get rid of the guys now that aren't going to be here when we get to 19, you know.
Instead of the ones that we took on fifth, yes.
And I think the Saints are looking at a very hard defensive lineman named Wayne Martin from Arkansas, who's a guy that's sort of a project, who's a pass rusher, but... if any one of these guys, like Lewis Oliver that's going up high, some of the few guys we mentioned are there, then they'll go with that. But I think if the 18 and 19 guys that figure to be gone so far are gone, they'll take Wayne Martin.
Okay, number 20, the Colts.
Willie just made another pick for me. Hartley Dykes is still there, and I can't believe it. I got somebody to throw to. Hartley.
I think you picked him twice. Now
I picked Andre Rison.
You know, we go to Cleveland.
Well, wide receiver, Peoples from North Carolina State.
Okay, who hasn't been picked yet, and Paul...
You guys get on me.
Paul's with the Rams now.
I have a good memory, but it's short. Has Burt Grossman been picked?
No, he hasn't.
Well, he's been mentioned.
Well, just write him in then.
Okay,
Yeah,
put him there for the Rams. Okay, Bino, now you're an Oiler.
Okay, now, Houston needs a lot of bodies. I'm making a trade. I'm giving my first-round choice and my fourth-round choice to some team for their second and their third.
Okay.
And next year's second. So I'm Houston. I'm giving my first, so somebody...
Which one of us are you trading with?
I'm going to switch anyone.
Well, we can veto the trade if it's one of our teams. If it's one of my teams, I wouldn't trade with you.
We're going to move on now to now. We're not sure who is going to have the next choice. We're round 24. Is it Minnesota?
Well, Minnesota has the 24th pick on paper, and in theory they traded to Pittsburgh for Merriweather. But the deal is contingent upon Minnesota being able to sign Merriweather. And as of the time we came on the air this morning, that deal was not done. And if it's not completed by the start of the draft at noontime today, it will be called off and the pick is back to Pittsburgh. I believe if Minnesota holds, they'll take David Williams, an offensive lineman out of Florida. And I think if Pittsburgh gets the choice, they're going to look at a running back, Robert Drummond of Syracuse, or a wide receiver from Northern Arizona, Sean Collins, one of those two guys.
And next, who is your third Bears choice?
Well, what's going to happen in this round, so everybody's not enlightened the way they are in this show, is everybody feels that in the NFL that from 20 to 28 pick is going to be all the offensive linemen that we really haven't mentioned. Paul's mentioned Joe Wolf a little bit, Wisniewski. The run's going to be here. Houston's going to take an offensive lineman, probably Brian Williams, the big kid from